Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Fumble Live. We've got a lot to talk about, and you know this Damian Lillard conversation is going to go on until he actually leaves or wins the title. And so we're going to talk about some stuff today, little suspicious caption that Chris is going to tell us about. And of course, the NFL season starts today, so we're going to talk about what we think is going to happen tonight and our predictions for the rest of the season. But before we get into all that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And now here's the Fumble Squad. I'm your host, Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media at JRayTheFanatic.
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K.
All right, Chris, I just want everyone to point out, I got to point this out to the chat. See, now when you lean back, I can see your shirt. I can see the little emblem. But when you lean forward, you just look like a talking head because all the black is just blending in. I don't want my Glock to get on you. I'm just going to call it out now so he can leave it alone the rest of the chat.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I have a green screen that I use for my streams, and I've worn green shirts multiple times. It happens. So now it's just with the black instead. I'm ready, chat. I'm ready.
Right? All right, let's get into this first need to know news. This is one of those things you're going to be talking about something later, and we might as well just get into this right now. I don't think this conversation about Dame Dollar is going anywhere for a long, long while. And of course, now Shaquille O'Neal has something to say about it as well. And, you know, he feels he has that G5 certification or whatever. I want to get into his thoughts and see if we agree or disagree. I'm pretty sure we all kind of agree. I love this one because it's spot on for me. He says he's an old school mentality guy that's playing in the new school. The old school guy would say, I'm not teaming up with you. I'm going to beat you. But these new school guys would say, hey, let's team up to make it easier. So that's the toughest decision for him. No lies detected. Let me get into his next comment as well. Says, I know he wants to stay in Portland and win it out, but he may have to switch up his mentality. If everybody else is doing it, then just going to keep him further from winning a championship. Should he go to a contender if he wants to brighten his chances of winning a championship? I say he should do that. I don't really like guys teaming up, but it's just the way it is these days. If he can get to a team that already has 2 or 3 guys and you add him, that raises his chances of winning a championship. I don't think that's not something all of us have said at one time or another. And I definitely do think it's that old school mentality of let me just stay with one team. I think the league messed that up too because we don't see as much loyalty with the teams. You know, back in the day, you know, when you talk about eras, guys weren't getting traded on the bus, at least not as often as we've seen it now. So it's hard to actually ask for loyalty from players when teams aren't giving that as well. But what do you think? What do you think about what SHAQ said? Is he right about that?
I mean, yeah, it's a different generation. I'm trying to think of who's one of the longest tenured guys with their own team. Is it Steph Curry? I mean, we don't really have that as much. I mean, yeah, maybe Steph and Dame are probably only. I can't think of anyone. Steph, Dame, Clay, but yeah, it's not as common. And that's the thing because like Shaq even pointed out, like these players, they want to win, and in a lot of cases, the problem with the draft is, you know, some of these GMs, we're hiring everybody to be a GM, and sometimes they're not GMs, and when they draft high multiple years at a time, they don't ever get it right, but they'll have one that's right, but then their team still sucks. So it's just a lot of different situations now that, you know, the players have the control and they're deciding to go elsewhere because they really want to win. They're competitive in that way, and I don't see it as weak. I don't see it as, you know, what a lot of the old heads like to point it as, like they're not loyal. No, they do what they can for these cities, but the city ain't gonna do anything for them. What are they supposed to be, losers their entire career? So I feel like Shaq went back and forth in his comments, but for the most part, I guess for the main, you know, old head argument that he's trying to get at, I'm against what he's saying about the whole, you know, he has to stay rah. But then that's the thing. He also said that he should go because what other people are doing. So I can't keep up with Shaq on this one. I think that he should go because the Blazers are not doing anything for him. We've seen it. We've seen it this past, like every single year they either give him the same team or a worse version of the year in year prior. So I think he should go. But at the same time, I love to see some players be loyal, but only if the situation makes sense.
Yeah, I think what we need to see is how they're doing now with Chauncey, because he was the one who said that he didn't think Chauncey was going to make a difference. If he's wrong about that, and all of a sudden we do see a totally different Portland team, then maybe his thought process changes. I think he's really just giving himself some space to change his mind and say, you know what, just kidding. I know I said I was going to be here forever, but I'm ready to leave. But Cristobal said something that I don't think is even remotely close to the same comparison. He says, well, Giannis toughed it out in Milwaukee and he got the chip. This is a much shorter time span than we're talking about with Dame. And so I don't think that's a fair comparison because Dame, hasn't even, been in that situation. So, and Giannis did it in a shorter amount of time, so I don't know if that's a fair statement. But also Dame's not being that quiet on the situation. Do you think that's part of the reason why people are constantly talking about it because he sends so many mixed signals?
That's a good question, but we talked about this. I feel like it's more outside noise, and I guess the problem is Dame responding to it. So I guess it's the same thing. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help. It does not help. He's not going full James Harden, I would say, yet, but he isn't helping the situation by responding to a lot of the rumors in the news and not by making his answer clear in those responses and those answers. And we're going to talk about one of those captions here on Post Up a little bit later. It doesn't help. No, it doesn't, because it just helps the media to continue to put out their narrative of him wanting out and hearing whatever rumor they're hearing from Joe Schmo that so happened to hear a conversation between Damian Lillard and his agent and said, what's that? Trade, when he's probably talking about his fade that he's going to get cut at the barbershop or something like that, and they're going to buy it because Damian Lillard going to say like, I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, it does not help. It really doesn't help because it just feeds the fire. But maybe he's doing that on purpose because he's the subject of the conversation, and maybe that helps his trade value if that is what he actually wants. So no, it doesn't help, but it might help him get him where he wants to go. So we'll see.
So is there anything short of a championship win that now the conversation shifts to, this is where he's at for the long haul, even if they make a final? Is there anything other than finals appearance, or do you have to win it all? What is the margin? Where's the bar at that all of a sudden we can say, this is good now, Dame should stay here?
Now it's got to be finals appearance because they did it before. They did the Western Conference Finals already before, and then they didn't do anything with that after. So I would say it has to be a finals appearance. It had at least an appearance. I don't think he has to win it, but if they get an appearance, I think that is the one of the things like, okay, all right, this is real, because he's gone to Western Conference before, and then they didn't do anything to improve the team. They just thought maybe we do the same thing over again and it would work, and it did not. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it has to be a finals appearance or Dame got to get out of there. I think next year is the year, like you said, by trade deadline or by next offseason. I think that's what it's going to be with him. I think that's his timetable.
Yeah, I mean, he's just that guy that you want to see him succeed, and I just don't see it happening in Portland. And it sucks because now Chauncey's there, and I love Chauncey so
Me too.
much. Like,
me too.
So excited for him to get this coaching opportunity.
Yeah.
And him having this opportunity to coach Dame warms my heart as well. Somebody in the chat earlier said, their front office is horrendous.
Terrible.
I can't argue that. I don't even know if I think that they're horrendous, as in they don't. I think they just don't know what they're doing, and they're like, "Oh, look, guys like each other. We did okay. This is good." Like they don't put any.
I think they're a scared small market, and that's the problem with being a small market. There's the Sam Prestis of the world who aren't scared, so they're going to trade away pieces to get these draft picks. Because being an owner or a front office in a small market is way different than being in a front office of the Lakers and the Knicks, because you can make some more moves without worrying about hurting Phoenix because you're a big market and other people are going to come through. With small markets, people aren't going to be like, you know what, this year I'm going to Portland. It's just not how it's going to go. So their problem is they're so fearful of that they're not going to make moves to trade CJ McCollum, to trade Yusuf, Nurkic and stuff like that, where they should probably be aggressive and make those moves so they can get Dame more help. And I think that's just what their biggest issue is they play too scared as a small market. And with small markets, look at the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sure they didn't want to get rid of Eric Bledsoe because of the relationship he had with Giannis and those guys, but it ended up being the right thing because you got a better piece in Drew Holiday. That's what you have to do at a small market. And I think that's just the problem with the Portland Trailblazers. They're not aggressive enough as a small market. They're too sheepish, and it's not helping them out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's not like I feel like I've seen. What are you laughing at? Oh
sorry,
my goodness.
Zen. I'm sorry. I just looked down and he said Portland recruits too many white players. I'm gonna say it because Zach Collins. He's not wrong, but he's wrong. You chill out. But at the same time, they threw some money at some players that should not have been getting money. Then I'll leave it at that. That's what I'm gonna leave it at.
Oh, Zen. Yeah, I love the comment.
Just,
yeah,
come on, son.
All right. On that note, let's get on to this next one because guess what day it is? It's not hump day, but it is
It's not.
yes,
it is.
NFL season is back. It feels like this is a real season. Last season, I don't think any of us were. Life wasn't normal enough for us to really appreciate it. I think the whole time we had a question of more of how long is this going to last before they shut it down. More so at the beginning than we were like, oh yay, NFL is back. But it's back. So let's talk about it. You guys, I want you to tell me in the chat, what are you most looking forward to? What are you keeping an eye on? Who's your team? What do you think your team is going to do? Let us know that in the chat. We'll shout out some good ones. Make sure if you're Who Dat, please shout it out in the chat because we are Who Dat up in here.
Who Dat?
Before we talk about Who Dat Nation, what are you looking forward to? We'll talk about tonight in a minute, but what are you looking forward to in this NFL season?
Outside of my Saints?
Yes, outside, because we're going to talk about that later.
Right. Well, I'm looking for all of my players that I drafted on my fantasy team to do well. So I got a lot more eyes that I got on different teams. So no, for real, I just want to see another successful-ish season as far as with this with the pandemic going on. I say successful-ish because even though last season they got through it, I don't know if I can completely count it as a success because there was a lot of things that happened along the way. This is one of the sports I worry about the most when it comes to the coronavirus, and with we got the Cole Beasleys of the world out there, and we got Homegirl out there throwing around fake vax cards that and helping these dudes out. So for the most part, I want to see them get through it, successfully-ish. I'm gonna keep using the ish on it for this season. That's the main thing I'm looking at. But then second thing is, like I said, the players on my fantasy team. I'm gonna be paying attention to some of y'all.
Who is your quarterback on your fantasy team?
I got my guy, the protege of our quarterback, Mr. Justin Herbert. I got Justin Herbert as my starting quarterback, and then my backup, you know who it is. You know who it is. I got James Winston as my backup. I had to make sure I picked him up. But yeah, I got Justin Herbert as my starting quarterback, and I'm excited to see him this season. He was very good last year. I think he's going to do a lot of the same this year. Drew Brees' tutelage will help him out. Yes.
I think there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. First and foremost, though, I want to see how this Deshaun Watson thing plays out because, that's kind of radio silence. There's not been a lot of conversation, even what's happening with his trial, what's going to happen with him with the Texans. Is he going to go somewhere else? That whole thing has been very hush-hush. Not entirely sure who's thinking what. That's the way you play it, though, in my opinion. You say something
for sure.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, so are y'all settling out of court? Is this going to trial? Can we move past? Like, I have no idea what's going on with that. So I'm very interested to see, what goes on with that. Outside of that, and y'all can call me a hater. I'm not going to be mad at that. I desperately want to see Mac Jones fail and fail miserably.
You've been saying this, yo.
I don't like that kid. I just don't. No. That's the things that I'm looking for sure. I saw that there is a Giants fan in the chat. Who wins? Let's just start there before we get into tonight's game. Who wins the NFC East? Because you ain't got to do much. That's the NFC least, literally. So who wins the NFC East? Oh
snap, man! I'd be damn. You know what? I just so I don't get killed because a lot of the people who watch my videos are Giants fans, and because I feel like it's just such a toss up, I'm gonna give them the love because I like their receiving core a lot better. Daniel Jones is my issue. I don't know. I love my favorite of those quarterbacks. Sorry, Giants fans, is Jalen Hurts, but I can't ever bet on the Eagles because they let me down. I will not sit here and say anything positive about the Cowboys. Sorry, Cowgirls fans. And Washington's Washington. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. They got Kenny Galladay. Their defense is young and looking good. I think, and then, like you said, it's not much to be first, but I'm gonna give it to the Giants of those four teams.
You're gonna give it to the Giants. Okay, I mean, I have no dog in that race.
Neither do I. Well, I kind of do.
I don't like Washington. They won the East last year. I don't think they do it again. There's just too much dysfunction in that organization for me.
Facts.
And I'm with you. I'll never in life say anything good about the Eagles. So that just leaves me by default to say, okay, I'll co-sign on that. The Giants will win it. So there's that. Aside from that, rookie quarterbacks, I know we've both mentioned, but I'm looking forward to, who else are you looking forward to as far as the rookies?
No, who are you going to say? I want to hear who you're looking for. I think we talked about briefly, but who are you going to say?
So I'm definitely Trevor Lawrence. That's definitely who I'm looking at the most. Just because I want to see. I think he's. And you guys know I'm not a big fan of rookie quarterbacks just in general. Not because I don't doubt their talent, but I just think that's the pressure position. I don't think that's a rookie's job. I think the rookie's job is to learn the system before they play.
Right. For sure.
There's one person, in my opinion, who I think is mentally already there and is not going to have any problems in that starting role. It's Trevor Lawrence. And I just want to see how he just goes in and flows seamlessly, like he's been in the NFL for like 3-4 years. And I just think he's the one to do it. It's no shade to anybody else, but just as far as what I've seen,
no, I got you.
The only one that's going to go in there and look like a straight boss. And I'm just excited to see that.
Yeah, my worry for Trevor Lawrence is the same thing that was my worry for Joe Burrow, and that is just the team protecting him and keeping him healthy. I don't think it's the same. It's as bad as Cincinnati. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence, I think it's gonna be fun. But y'all know my favorite. I'm waiting for the days. I'm counting down the days. No offense, Andy Dalton. No offense to Nick Foles. But I'm counting down the days until my man Justin Fields is officially given the reins to Chicago, and I want to see what he's going to do. I'm looking out. Trey Lance, I got my eye on you as well, but I don't know what's going on over there in San Francisco. But Justin Fields, nobody is right. Justin, like, this has been my year because I got my guy LaMelo Ball in the NBA finally, so I'm excited about that. And now I got my guy Justin Fields finally in the NFL. So I'm be counting down the days until Chicago finally says, "All right, Justin, let's get it done." So I got my eye on him. He's definitely the rookie quarterback I'm looking at.
Okay, so a crazy prediction, and I know this is going to take us all a while to think about because I'm just throwing it out here because I ain't thought about it either. But who has one of the worst records in the NFL this season?
Ooh. See, but I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to get hate. They're going to say I'm a hater. So I'm scared to answer this question.
Answer it.
All right, I'm going to answer it, but then people are going to be like, oh, there you go, hating on the team as always. Look,
so right away. You just knew off top. Like, I was like, let me think about it. He was like, ooh, let me tell you.
Yeah, man, I have no belief in this team. I don't think they got any better, and maybe it's just because of the rivalry we have with them, but I don't think they got any better. I don't believe in what they got going. I think their quarterback might play a little bit better, but I'm looking at the Falcons. I even saw somebody in the chat saying Falcons about to get the first overall pick. I think the Falcons are going to be nothing but doo-doo butter in their brand new stadium this year. I love Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a good season. I think Matt Ryan might look a little bit better because he plays well with tight ends, but their defense isn't that much great. The running play didn't get that much better. The O-line, you don't know which one you're going to get out of them. So maybe it's hate. Maybe it's the rivalry. I don't care who that all day, but I'm going with either them or the Lions. Those are the two teams I'm looking at. They're going to be like, maybe the Dolphins, but who knows?
I definitely was going to go with the Lions on that one. So, the Lions to me always just are like always close to getting something gelling, but they never quite do. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you have Matt Stafford and Megatron on your team for that long of time and you can't make nothing. You just not. You don't know how to put the pieces in right. So I just can't give you no. I'm gonna go with the Lions on that, and I'm just looking forward to the season. Now, before we're gonna talk about this a little bit and what we're not gonna do. Our Saints. Let's talk about what we think we're gonna do. I think now. Let me just say, for me personally, all I want is a playoff appearance.
Amen.
That's literally all I want. I'm not talking about anything crazy like Super Bowl. I just want Jameis to have a very successful year. I want us to be able to say, okay, this kid's got it. We're confident moving on with him. That's about. I'm not a Cowboy fan where I just say every year, this our year. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm the same. Amen. Yeah, I'm the same.
Playoff appearance. What about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we have a pretty solid schedule. I think actually our worst games are going to be in our own division, as they always are, being that, even though I said what I said about the Falcons always come to play against us. Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. Panthers, that same thing, like they, run CMC that he loves to play against us. So I'm worried about our division because we play all those teams 2 times, and that already hurts our schedule. But outside of that, we're playing the NFC, the same division we were just making fun of, the NFC East. We play them this year, so I feel like we should be able to do well against them. So yeah, I'm with you. I want to see us, get to the playoffs. But my big thing is I'm just looking at Jameis. I just want Jameis to just shut the damn doubters up. I'm seeing Madden got him at like a 73 overall. Everybody's saying he's washed this, that, and the third. So I'm looking at my man Jameis to let them know and remind them who the hell he is. And lead this team to possibly getting the division back. But like you said, I'm not completely biased where I'm gonna sit here every year and be like, oh yeah, we the best team. We the best team for sure. Yeah, I'm realistic. But I really do believe that we have a chance. I think the Buccaneers they probably take us by a little bit for the division. But I really feel I feel confident in our team this year, man. A lot of the same pieces stay defensively. Jameis has more of an arm, so we can unlock some of our weapons a little bit more. We'll see what happens. I'm really excited about this year for us.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Now I want to talk about tonight's game. Now, yesterday you had said, I think yesterday you had said one of the reasons why you didn't like Stephen A. Smith is because people like myself feel like he represents for the Knicks, and so when he says goes, I feel like we also feel like Skip Bayless is the go-to for Cowboy fans. What he says is what a lot of Cowboy fans feel.
Very
so
true.
that being said, Cowboy fans is scared. Like scared. Let me show y'all this tweet from Skip Bayless. I was like, tell me you don't have confidence in your team without telling me you don't have confidence in your team. He says, I am still angry with the NFL for throwing the Cowboys to the Tampa Wolves just because America's team is such a ratings magnet. We finished third in one of the worst divisions ever. We do not deserve to be playing the defending champs / GOATs on opening night. Totally unfair. Thanks, NFL. You either have faith in your squad or you don't. To me, this is no faith. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not gonna go that far. I understand. That's the thing I give about Skip Bayless. Like he's a Cowboys fan, but sometimes he'll go and be very dramatic on the other side. But I'll give him some respect, and that's very little because it's still Skip Bayless. But yeah, no confidence at all. Like even if I feel like we won't have a good season, I'm gonna be confident. I'm also a Knicks fan, so I know how to do that very well. But yeah, I see no confidence coming from Skip Bayless at all. And you know what? Because of your comment, because of what you said, I'm going to try and pretend like that is not speaking for the other Cowboys fans. And maybe other Cowboys fans feel other types of ways. Just because you said what you said. And I have to think about it now.
Oh,
so
yeah. Now you don't want it to be like, I see what you did there.
Yeah. So maybe Cowboys fans feel different.
All right. Prediction for tonight's game.
Wait, who's playing tonight? I'm going to be completely real because I know we played the Packers on Sunday.
Tampa Bay and the Cowboys.
Oh, that's right. And the Cowboys, right. So I'm going to be real, Jackie Ray. Yes, it's going to be my thinking side is saying the Buccaneers going to win by a lot against the Cowboys, but my Saints side is saying I hope the Cowboys go out there and smack up the Buccaneers. Yes, how about them Cowboys? Yeah, that's what I said. The smart side knows. I have to say it tonight. Look, man, I hate the Buccaneers that much. I'll say it tonight. How about them Cowboys? I'll say it tonight.
I got Cowboy gear you can wear if you want. I ain't
gonna go that far. I ain't gonna go that far.
My stuff. I just ain't found nobody my size to give it to. But
yes. Give it to. No, I'm not gonna go that far. I can't do that. I'll melt. You ain't gonna see me on the show next week.
Right. I mean, and I feel you. The thing is, I would love for them to lose, but I love me some Tampa Tom too. So it is what it is. Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, I hate the Bucs. I absolutely, positively hate the Bucs. But I like Tampa Tom.
There you go.
All right. All right, that's all I got for Need to Know News. Chris, can you take us into this Post Up?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a Thursday edition of Post Up with your boy Chris. Yes. Football season is upon us. That is right. It's tonight. Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. I can't believe I completely forgot about that. Good call on that. I'm trying to see what the chat got. They're still going in talking trash about the about the Cowboys, which I have no problem with at all. But I want to backtrack a little bit because we talked about it briefly, and we're talking about Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard, after all those comments you heard about SHAQ, rah. But Damian Lillard recently, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, recently posted this picture on his IG. With the caption, back for more, #Rip City is my city. And some people are they're scratching their head a little bit because there's a lot of people who really, really, truly believe that Damian Lillard is going to be traded right about now. Me and Jackie have said, Jackie put it perfectly, and I co-signed it. She said that if he's either going to be moved by the deadline or not till next season. I completely agree. I'm ready to take out the deadline part of it. I think he's just going to give it another run with the team, and then next year is when they're going to be aggressive finally. Because like I said, next offseason is going to be crazy. But with him putting this post, that only certifies it for me. I think that he is definitely going to write it out. But unlike what our caption says below me, Dame says PDX forever, I don't think that's what he's saying. Like I've said multiple times, Damian Lillard, what he is trying to do as far as leaving Portland has nothing to do with the fan base. And I think he's trying to make sure that they understand that. He loves the fans. He loves Portland and everything they've done from. There is no Damian Lillard in his eyes without Portland. He said that many times. But I don't think that post means that he's staying in Portland forever. I think that he's just running it back for another season, exactly what it's saying in the caption. I think there's no hidden agenda here. I think he's just trying to let the fans know I'm here. Don't worry about it. Let's see what we can do this year. Jackie Ray, do you agree with me? Do you think that this is just a 1 year kind of like re-up, like we're doing it again, y'all? We'll be all right. Or do you think that there's some sort of underlying message in this caption?
No, I think if he wanted it to be 100% accurate, it would have said Rip City's my city right now. You know what I mean? And then that would have been 100% accurate. But I still stand behind what I said, that right now his agent and his crew, if a situation comes up that is viable by the trade deadline and they're not performing to the level that Damian is comfortable with, there will definitely be a move. If that doesn't happen, then the second the season is over, again, if they don't make a finals appearance, I think he's out. I also think in my heart of hearts, and I've said this before, I do think that Portland is his city, period. I think that there is a love for that city that he has, that maybe he'll, even if he does go somewhere else, he'll come back and play like that one day and retire in Portland. I do believe that that is his city and his heart, but I don't think that is his forever team. Like, I just don't think that at all.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because, like I said, I don't have problems with players leaving if the situation makes sense. I've always felt that way. I do like the loyalty aspect of it with a lot of these players, but only if it makes sense for them. I don't want them to go. Like, I love Damian Lillard, and I don't want him to stay in a team where he never has the opportunity to win. Now, if he is fighting every single year and he has the opportunity, but he just can't get it, then it is what it is. But at least he did what he had to do for his city. But the team's not helping him out. So at the same time, why should he stay? I completely understand that. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that this was a forever post. I don't think it is PDX forever. I know he said that, or people are thinking that that's what he's saying. But I think I'm going to scratch out the trade deadline. I like what you said. I still think you're right, especially if they don't do well this year. But I'm going to scratch out the trade deadline. I think he's going to give it one more full run with Chauncey Billups and the crew and see what happens. And then next year we'll make the official move. But, yeah. So Damian Lillard, man, we'll see what happens. The clock is ticking. Dame time, but in a different sense. You know what I'm talking about? All right, but moving off of Damian Lillard to Jayson Tatum. Jayson Buff Tatum. No, but this has nothing to do with his him being buff. Jayson Tatum, he has an opinion about opinions, and I'm curious to hear your opinion about Jayson Tatum's opinions about other people's opinions. Y'all follow me on that? That made sense? Yeah, that's a lot, right? But let me read Jayson Tatum's tweet. He said, LOL, everyone always has an opinion on what you're doing, should be doing, positive comments or negative ones. I ask myself all the time, would 13-year-old me be proud of who I am today? Sometimes puts things in perspective of what really matters. I get what he's trying to say. To me, that sounds like a coping mechanism for everything he's hearing outside. So do what you got to do. I'm a firm believer of, opinions are opinions. There are no right or wrong opinions. There's stupid opinions, but I mean, it's your opinion. It's what you want to believe, then believe what you want to believe. Like, people think I'm crazy when I sit here and go and talk as loud as possible saying that Jameis Winston is going to be one of the best quarterbacks this season. People think I'm crazy, but it's my opinion. It's my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it. People think I'm crazy when I say the Knicks, they can go out and get 50 wins this year. That's my opinion. It could happen. But, a lot of crazy things could come out of people's mouth. But I get where he's coming from because Jayson Tatum has been getting a lot of, after having such a strong start to his career, he's getting a lot of hate at least last season because, A, his stats went down, B, the Celtics weren't as good, and when it was supposedly his team and he didn't do too well and this, that, and the third. So I get where he's coming from. But, Jackie, I ask you, do you think that this is him trying to – I don't know. Do you think this is him trying to make himself feel better by openly saying it out loud, or do you agree with what he's trying to get at by saying that the opinions of many are just that? They're just opinions, but you have to think back to how you feel about yourself. What's your thoughts about Jayson Tatum's tweet?
I think Jayson is spending a lot of time on TikTok because there's that trend where you go back and you talk to yourself and tell 13-year-old, yes, we made it. I think he's spending a lot of time on TikTok and then just was like, oh, I should make one of those TikToks. But you know what? That TikTok is right. It's just an opinion. What would I tell 13-year-old me? I literally think this was a TikTok trigger. But ultimately, I think he's right. I've never been one of those type. I honestly, and I think this goes for a lot of people, I would not have done anything in my life that I have done thus far if the opinions of people actually mattered to me.
Amen.
I just wouldn't. I wouldn't have had any successes in my life. So he's absolutely right. It might be a coping mechanism for him, but sometimes saying things out loud or writing them down kind of confirm things that you need to know in your head. So good for him. And go ahead and do that TikTok trend, sir. I know that's what you want to do. Go do
that. Yeah, no, 100%. And my man Zen, I got two people back in my statements. Okay, I see y'all. My man Levy saying Knicks 50+ wins is a fact. Go ahead. That's right. Are you Knicks fan, Levy? If you're with me, what's up, my guy? We here, my boy. And then I also got Zen on my side talking about 27 is a magic number for QBs. Guess how old Jameis is. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just saying. Okay. I feel confident about my boys. And you know what? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But again, opinions are our own. And I love what Jackie just said because that's very true. Like if I listen to the opinions of other people, I would be working some job I absolutely hate. Probably making more money. So cool, you're right. But I wouldn't be happy about it. I wouldn't be doing something I actually wanted to do and wouldn't be pursuing something that I actually believe that I can pursue. So you're 100% right. And there's been a lot of moments in my life where that's the case. So yes, don't ever, ever, ever live off of the opinions of others. You could take them into account if you want to, or you can just completely disregard them. It's completely up to you. Everybody's situation is different. I'm here with Jayson Tatum, but I love your analogy better with the TikTok because it's very true. I've been seeing that TikTok all over the place, and yeah, I think that's probably what he was definitely looking up at. Anyways, but moving off of basketball, we're going into the football world, and we're starting off with your boy Tampa Brady, whichever one you want to know him as. I've heard both of them. Tom, because you know Tampa Bay, so Tampa Brady and blah. Yeah, I heard both of them. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys talked about it on here because I wasn't here at the time. But Tom Brady was very, very, very vocal on how he felt about the league changing the rules to like college, where players can choose whichever number that they want, meaning if you're a cornerback, wide receiver, tight end, if you want to be a single-digit number, you can wear a single-digit number now. And Brady was not a fan. He made it very clear he hated the rule. Well, we're about hours. Yeah, we're hours away from his first game of the season. He was asked briefly about it, and he still feels the exact same way. I'm just calling him Tampa Brady. Tom Brady, take it away, bro.
30 minutes probably isn't that much, but anyway, I don't want to get into it. I've already talked and nauseam about it. I think it's a stupid rule, just to put it out there one more time.
Yeah, he did his best. He did his best Chris impression. You see how I go, it's stupid. You know how I put a lot of emphasis on the stoop part of stupid? Tom Brady did the same thing. So me and Tom Brady, we got that in common, I guess. Jackie, I heard you chime in just now. I'm really curious of your thoughts on that rule change. I wasn't here when the original thing happened, so I'm curious to hear how you feel about it. You don't like it?
Stupid rule. And when it originally came out, Tom Brady had said, you know, it's going to make it difficult sometimes to know what guys do what. And I 100% agree with that. Because, I mean, now granted, I'm going back to, you know, my brother and my dad teaching me about football when I was a kid. And when you're that young, sometimes it's confusing to know who's doing what. And the way my dad instantly explained it was like, okay, when these numbers are typically this position, the quarterbacks, right, their numbers go to this. And so now instantly when I'm watching the game, I know who's doing what. I know, you know, where you supposed to be, where you illegal man downfield, all that stuff, you know, all comes together because you know the numbers. And then all of a sudden you don't know the numbers and it's like, I don't know who's doing what. I don't know what y'all doing. I don't like it. For me personally, I don't like it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I get it. To be real, I was fine with it at first, and then I got Madden. And then I'm like, I was confused as hell because I don't know. And then because I got to my second season, I used the Saints. I'm playing the franchise mode, and I'm seeing number 9, a brother in number 9 on the Saints, in the Saints jersey running around in the backfield. I'm like, Drew, wait, hold on, what's going on? I got so confused. So yeah, I'm not quite against it, but I'm leaning towards a little bit because it's getting confusing as hell. Maybe after a full season, I'll get it. Maybe if they just keep it to like the receivers and the cornerbacks, maybe I'll be cool with it. But it's just weird when you're seeing linebackers wearing 6, and I don't know. Right. I don't know. It's just different for me. It's weird. It's weird.
Or
Yeah,
if I
it's
see a
weird.
wide receiver at 99,
That's the other. Yeah,
that's not what
yeah,
it's supposed to be, sir. Like,
yeah,
no, I can't do it.
yeah. Yeah, so I don't hate it, but I'm getting closer to it because Matt, yeah, that threw me all the way off. I'm just like, who that brother out there wearing Drew Brees jersey? What? How do one of the fans get on the field? Like, it threw me all the way off. But yeah. It's different. It's definitely different for sure. But sticking to football, we have a fun little controversy. It's not even controversy because we have the person who did it. But Chase Claypool, he had a great rookie season. A lot of people were loving him. He was very high on a lot of people's fantasy draft boards this season. People were expecting big things from Chase Claypool. I'm still looking at you, Ben Roethlisberger. That's my only reason why I couldn't draft Chase. Ben, looking at you, big guy. Hang it up, my fella. Hang it up. But regardless of that, this person put a lot of, well, not that much money. He's slated to win a lot of money if his bet is right. And his bet is that Chase Claypool will be the best receiver of this season. According to FanDuel Sportsbook, it says one customer has placed a $1,000 bet on Chase Claypool to lead the NFL in receiving touchdowns this season. Potential payout of $91,000. Now, to be real, in the betting world, to me, I'm looking at $1,000 on a bet like that. I'm like, hold on, what? Hold on, player. Give me my money back. That was a mistake. But in the betting world, for those who bet, and this is their sport that they do, that's not a lot for that kind of a payoff for something like this. The player might be the biggest thing. But $1,000 to potentially win $91K, that's a pretty big, pretty nice little bet. I don't know if it's going to happen, but Chase Claypool saw this, and his response is pretty funny because he couldn't believe it himself, and he is Chase Claypool, and he's like, "Dad, is that you?" Because he's like, "Who else gonna make a bet that crazy? $1,000 on me, Ben? I'm gonna try my best." But in fact, it wasn't Chase Claypool's dad because supposedly this is him. I try to look into it. A lot of people responded, but he got receipts. But we found the guy who did it. It is this guy right here, and you can see by his business picture, got a lot of likes on the thing, people responding. He has the receipt right here. But supposedly this was the guy that did. He said, "Have a great season, Mr. Claypool. Best of luck." And then he posted the receipt of what oh my goodness, what FanDuel was talking about was his $1,000 payout to get $91,000. He bet 1,000 straight that Chase Claypool will have the most touchdowns of the season. And you know what? Bravo. So, Jackie, that's my problem. That's my problem, Jackie. Right? That's what I'm saying. Ben's going to lose him a lot of money. Ben's going to lose this poor guy a lot of money. I don't know. But, Jackie, I have a fun question for you.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
No. Go. No, say what you're going to say.
I used to work for a betting company, and that was, you got to factor in everything. You don't just make willy-nilly bets. Now, to me, this is better than the Bitcoin thing, because at least you're going to like, for me, it's better. But you have to bet $1,000 in your head saying Ben Roethlisberger, because to me, this isn't a Chase Claypool bet. This is 100% bet that Ben Roethlisberger is going to find Chase in the end zone more than anybody else in the league is going to. That's not a Chase bet, that's a Ben bet, and I don't know if you bet on Ben.
Yeah, that's the problem. That I'm 100% with you, and that's what I was saying with fantasy. That's why I couldn't do it. I think he's gonna be great. He might give you some good weeks, but because of Ben, I just cannot bet on him. So I got a fun question for you, real quick, before we move on to the next one, Jackie Ray. Now I learned the Knicks. They tricked me last year, so I'm in Vegas is not a believer in the Knicks, and they have the Knicks going under 40, like 40 wins or something like that. So I'm gonna make a bet on the Knicks to get more than that. But in the football world, if there was a fun bet and you had a lot of money, something like this, something crazy like this, what kind of bet would you make? And I'll say I bet that Jameis Winston is going to throw for 40 touchdowns this year and under 15 interceptions. That's the kind of bet I would bet about a lot of money on something like that. So what would be a fun prop kind of crazy bet that you would put money on and people would look at you like, you sure about that? What would be your bet? I know I put it on the spot if you got one.
I would stay with the Saints, and I would say that we win the NFC South. And that would be my crazy bet, that we take the NFC South. And keep in mind, for those who don't know, that Tampa Tom is in our division. So that would be one of those crazy bets that people would be like, she's smoking. That's what I would
Right.
make.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we have no Brees. So it's a different year. People don't know who we're going to be. People, like I said, people down on Jameis and stuff like that. So, yeah, that would be considered a crazy bet because people think that the Buccaneers are going to run away with the division. Okay. All right. So, Chad, I open up the question for you guys. I got another football one coming up here next. And then after that, I'm going to see what kind of crazy bets that you guys got. So, what kind of bet would y'all put some kind of money on if you have it? Yeah, Ghost said Ben could reimburse him. Yeah, I hope Ben reimbursed my man Nick, man, because he about to lose a lot. I mean, it's okay. $1,000 should be all right. He looked like a businessman. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Stefon Diggs, man, yo. Now, I a lot of Saints fans still have a lot of beef when it comes to this guy. You know, had a very key play that stopped the Saints from getting to the NFC Championship. That's neither here nor there, but Stefon Diggs dropped a really dope truth bomb, dope like hype video, whatever you want to call it, and during the preseason going into tonight and the start of the regular season that really got me hyped up. And it's very true. And I feel like this is a kind of quote that can work on anything in life, not even just football. But I felt this one, and y'all going to feel it too. Stefon Diggs, take it away, man.
Not only to them, I'm gonna prove it to myself that I am who I say I am. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing. Prove it to yourself. Fuck everybody else. You prove it to yourself first. And once you do that, you're gonna accomplish everything you want to accomplish.
And you know who's he talking to off camera? Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum standing right there like, Stefon, what you think, man? And he's like, yo, don't worry about what they saying. Don't worry about their opinions. Prove it to yourself. Like he's co-signing what Jason Tatum tweeted earlier. And like I said, man, I feel like that's something that can be carried outside of football with anything you're doing in life, anything you're pursuing is facts, man. Prove it to yourself. Sometimes it works to, try and, shut your haters up. I know this, I know people that's what they thrive on, and they're successful because of that, because they got people telling them that they can't do it. And then they do it to spite those people. If that's the way you want to go, cool. But more importantly, you got to do what you believe that you can do and prove it to yourself more than anybody else. So I love that. Stefon Diggs, we got beef, but I think that was a dope quote. Now, before we move on to the next one, I want to see what crazy bets we got. Okay, so we got Justin saying McCaffrey going to have 1K rushing and receiving this year. Okay, I'm about to say at first I'm like, that's not that crazy, but to have 1K in both, all right, that's a bet right there. And I think that's the only one we got. If there's more, we'll come back to it. But this next one, Jackie Ray, I want to hear what you think about this one. I know we don't care much about this organization, but there was a name that did poke out to me that I was like, you know what? That'd be kind of cool. And I wasn't the only one because a lot of people in the comments felt the same way. But the Washington football team seem to finally be figuring out what they're actually going to name their team, and it's not going to be the Washington football team anymore. They have a list of names that they are supposedly keen in on or what planning on going forward with if whatever I don't know who's voting for it. I don't know who decides, but these are the names that they're looking at. The Washington football team has narrowed it down to these nicknames, and it's the Red Hogs, according to the picture that you see right there, Defenders, Armada, Presidents, Brigade, Commanders, Red Wolves, or keeping it to the football team. Now, before we move on to the next clip, Jackie, I just want to hear it of any of these names. I know it's not great. To me, I see two good ones. But of any of these names, which one are you looking at? You're like, okay, that's cool.
The Hogs, because they're a bunch of pigs anyway. So that makes sense. I'm going to go with Red Hogs.
Red Hogs, that's the one you're going with. So I actually like the Red Wolves. I thought that was a solid name. I'm looking at that. I'm like, you know what? I think it's a little too cool for Washington, but it would be kind of cool. And a lot of these people in the comments agree. I guess in the Washington fan base, there's a whole movement going on for this to go forward. So look at this. You see this Photoshop right here. Look, Bill Frank saying Red Wolves. This is easy. And he made a whole Photoshop, and it looks clean. That jersey will look clean. I hate that it'd be Washington, but that jersey looks clean. And then, like I said, a lot of people agreed. So it wasn't just him. We got even the Washington's own Jonathan Allen saying that he's a fan of Red Wolves, saying the name Red Wolves, I ain't going to lie, that'd be pretty hype. So many great things could come out of that. Call the stadium the Den. Get the Wolfpack on D. Get a sack and let out a big howl. That ish would be fire, bro. I don't disagree. It'd be cool. I just hate it would be for Washington, but he ain't wrong. I think it'd be pretty cool. And then we got some more renders and Photoshops right here. Shout out to DC Steve with this one right here. It'd be kind of cool. It'd be nice jersey. You can still see up the stars. Like, these are pretty cool. I co-signed this one a little bit. Again, I won't care enough about the team, but definitely would use them on Madden and move them to a different city that I actually care about. That'd be pretty cool. But Jackie Ray, I know you went with the Red Hogs, but if they went with the Red Wolves, how do you feel about the fan base's excitement around the Red Wolves?
Are you hearing the noise in the background?
Yeah, I'm about to say, what's going on?
I don't know, not me. But I actually, I was like, everybody stay calm. I was watching a lot of horror movies last night. I don't know. Maybe something got, maybe I done ushered something in. I don't know. But
I'm trying to push through
it. The Red Wolves, I really do like. But it's just too cool. I don't think.
Yeah, right.
I think the Hogs make sense because I think you should do something that's fitting to your organization. Y'all ain't no wolves, y'all, or at least some clowns. I don't know, but maybe.
Yeah, it would be too cool, huh?
But when he said you could do a whole theme out of it, because calling it the Den and then getting the that is fire.
Isn't that dope?
I love it.
But you're right though. It's so unfortunate who is going to that. I co-sign that part. That's the beef I had with it too. Because I was like, man, I don't like the team, but I do like Washington's colorway because it's different. Yeah. Like it's not USC, but it's close to it because it's like a burnt yellow. I just think they're cool, but it's just unfortunate that stupid organization that gets all that cool stuff. But yeah, I co-sign the fan base for them. It ain't their fault that they have to root for that team because I get it. But yeah, I think it'll be kind of. You kind of right. I was trying to defend them. Sorry, Red Wolves fans. I'm already in on it. Go ahead, Washington. But anyways, yeah, it's unfortunate. It'd be too cool for them, but I think it'd be dope. All right, so we got the last two going here on Post Up, and we are going to none other than to be honest. If you have not seen this dude Shadowbox by now, I don't know what's going on because the absolute speed that Ryan Garcia has is insane. And if you haven't seen it by now, it sounds like a treadmill. I'm trying to find something. If Sonic was a real life thing, I believe this is what it sounds like. Sonic, when he was running, I feel like this is what it would sound like. But Ryan Garcia, right here, watch him shadowboxing at like ultra speed. It's not like a helicopter. It's not like a damn helicopter. He's crazy. It's fast. He's fast. He's been doing this for years. That's insane. It's impressive. It's insane. And luckily his boxing skill matches the speed. So, yeah, Ryan Garcia is crazy for that, for real. And last but not least, we have a cute moment. We haven't had many. I mean, we've had some cool moments, but we haven't had a cute moment in a long time. And we got this little girl who's an Orioles fan that she just wants to be a part of the crew. She's just trying to get in the booth and commentate the game with one of her favorite commentators, so or help out. You know what I mean? So watch this cute little video. It's pretty dope.
Oh, that is cute. Hey, Melanie Newman, need help in the booth? Hashtag Girls Heart Baseball. That's adorable.
Yeah, I get it. It's a cute moment, man. She has her whole sign made and whatever. Huh?
Did she get in the booth?
I don't think she got in the booth. The clip does go on, and Melanie Newman, the person she's talking to, like you see her, she's like they're smiling, all happy about it, and it's a cute little moment. But yeah, I didn't find where I don't think she got in the booth, unfortunately, yet. Come on, Orioles. Yeah. Come on now. Look, I'm waiting for Steph Curry to bring my boy from across the country to come in and work out with him. And now Orioles, I'm looking at you guys to get a little girl to just say hi or something in the booth for like, an inning or something like that. Make it happen. But Jackie Ray, I'm ready. And I'm sure the chat's ready. Can you tell us what we're not going to do?
Yes. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this one, Chris. So let's get into what we're not going to do, because what I'm not going to do is go back on some things that you guys know about me. And you guys know that I am big on karma. I think that what comes around goes around. I think before any professional sporting season, it is your job to put out as much good karma as possible so that you can reciprocate as much good karma as possible, because you just don't want to jinx it. And I feel like my Saints missed that message, because in my opinion, this is not good karma. And we got not brand new, but we're ushering our new regime of quarterback. And I just think we need some good karma. So I don't like this. So if you don't know, on Tuesday, We cut our backup running back Latavius Murray on Tuesday. Now here, let me just tell you this: he's a veteran backup. He's coming off of one of his best seasons, and averaging 4.5 yards per carry, 656 yards in rushing. And in 2019, he had to back up Alvin Kamara, which was a big deal for us because we needed him to do that backup. And then he had 4 touchdowns when he did that. So he is at this point in his career where he's proven, at least especially for my Saints, that he has value. He's going to be there when you need him, and you have some depth, right? So he's proven that. But my Saints decided 5 days ago to ask him to take less money. So I want to show you this tweet. Because this is how it all started. So let's start at the bottom. So Adam Schefter said, Saints are releasing running back Latavius Murray per source. They asked for a pay reduction yesterday, and he refused. Murray is coming off of his best season, and then I'm saying the same thing I said. So now here's the thing. This is where it gets jacked up, and this is where the bad karma comes in. Because Emmanuel says, here's the worst part. In the NFL, employment by Tuesday at 3 p.m. each week guarantees that week's paycheck. So if you're on the roster on Tuesday, you're getting paid for that full week. Gets worse, though. Murray is also a veteran. So employment by that date at 3 p.m. means his entire year's salary was guaranteed. His salary is only $3 million. We're not talking about a ton of money when we're talking about this kind of profession. $3 million. So by them cutting him, they've also cut his money, which really sucks because we kind of missed the whole free agency, and now the NFL season starts today. So you've put him in a really kind of jacked up position. So I agree with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe thinks that it was a crappy move, and it's just dirty. So let me show you a tweet from Shannon Sharpe. He says, Saints could have asked Latavius Murray to take a pay cut in March. Probably expected he wouldn't, but would have had options in free agency. They asked him to take a pay cut 5 days before the season starts, thinking his back is against the wall, and he would say yes, and then he says no and gets released. That's dirty. I'm not too mad at that. I don't think that they could. I mean, see, this is the tough part. By March, the preseason hadn't really happened, right? So maybe saying that they could have asked him to take a pay cut then isn't necessarily true, because maybe there's some things that they needed to see in him in preseason. However, you do have to think that some of the issues, if they were having them, they did see in practice and could have given him an opportunity to test the free agency and end up somewhere else. They've kind of put him in a bad position. But these fans point out 2 very different points, and I get it. So let me show this first one. He says he got outplayed by the guy behind him and lost his spot and was getting paid too much to be a third-string running back. Now, $3 million, in my opinion, that's not being paid too much when you're a veteran. So I don't agree with that. But he says, no, it's not dirty, but I guess that's a narrative that you want to get attention. But this is my thing. He goes, so I guess you would take a pay cut for someone outperforming you at your job. No, you would not. You would not say, okay, this person is better than me, so let me take a pay cut. You would say to yourself, I don't think this person is better than me. I'm going to go out there and prove it. You would not willingly take that pay cut. So what I'm not going to do is pretend 2 things. I don't agree with Shannon Sharpe in the March thing, just because I think maybe they did have to look at some things. However, I do think it's dirty to not guarantee his money, and now it's going to be difficult for him because, like I said, the NFL season is starting today, and we need as much good karma as possible. So at the very least, Who Dat Nation, we need to wish this man the best and hope he gets on the roster like very, very quickly so we can offset that karma. But I do kind of agree with Shannon Sharpe. Chris, what do you think? Do you think that this is dirty? I think it's dirty. Because he has no time by the time you cut him. Shannon, I think, was wrong in his assessment saying that it was 5 days before, because technically that's only 3 days before the league starts.
Yeah,
so
it was less than that.
Kind of jacked up, I think. What do you think?
Oh boy, I'm not in the same camp at all. I get it. I get it. He did have a solid season for us last year. But okay, let me talk about the financial first. So the financial part of it, like you said, as a vet and for what he's done for the majority, because remember, he was the number 1 option for the Raiders for a lot of time, and then he had one of his best seasons, if not his best season with us last year. So all that stuff warrants the $3 million. But at the same time, we also know our Saints are strapped for cash, and they're looking to cut wherever they can cut. And one thing the Saints have always been good at, I mean, if Alvin Kamara is not example enough, the Saints have been able to make some running backs into tremendous players. And I'm going to go, for people who think I'm a bandwagon Saints fan, I'm about to prove y'all wrong right now. We've had a list of names that produced for us really well. You can Google their stats with the Saints and how they did otherwise that were no names, and then ended up being great. Kyrie Robinson was somebody that we had for about 2-3 seasons, who was our backup running back with Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush. And Kyrie Robinson was a beast with us when Reggie got hurt. And then we didn't re-sign him. He went to the Bills, sucked, out of the league in 2 years. Chris Ivory, Jets fans, he was a guy that for 2-3 seasons that Sean Payton loved, but just could not pull himself to pay him a lot of the money that he deserved. The Jets said, okay, we'll do it. Injury prone, about 2-3 seasons, he was out. And I feel like the Saints are just really good. They're running back whisperers. I mean, they're just as good with the quarterback, with the running back situation. And I feel like, unfortunately, Latavius Murray, they're like, yo, we want to keep you. We would love to keep you, but we were trying to cut because we are already financially we're shot right now financially going into the season. We want to continue to fight. And unfortunately for Latavius Murray, and if you've been watching the preseason, there's a dude on our team right now named Tony Jones Jr. who's a stud, and he's getting paid a lot less. So unfortunately for Latavius Murray, and you're right, it's not a good look because of the timing of it. And they should have probably cut him sooner, because they knew, because Sean Payton was using him a lot, and Latavius Murray wasn't even getting reps with the first strings and all that stuff because Sean Payton really loved this Tony Jones Jr. kid. So it was, I don't know. It was a bit dirty. I will say that because of the timing of it. I cannot disagree with that. But at the same time, as a Saints fan, I'm not against it because I like going with Tony Jones Jr. behind Alvin Kamara a lot more. Latavius Murray was great. I think that he did do a lot of good things for us, but I do remember the games that he didn't help us in very, very, very cleanly as well. Sorry, Latavius. But like you said, I guarantee he's going to go to a team. He's going to get picked up rather quick. Probably not going to get the same $3 million. But I'm not going to look at this as bad karma, Jackie. Don't you do that. I'm not looking at this as bad karma because we don't need bad karma. But in that same sense, though it's dirty, I'm not against the move because, like I said, the Saints had other options that are cheaper, and it's a business. You got to do what you got to do to keep your team afloat, and they need as much money as they can get. And the problem is you have to cut them before that point for the money to not affect you negatively, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles with Latavius.
To the cut, it's not the cut.
It's the timing. No, I got you. I mean,
even if it was 2 weeks sooner, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like you could have cut him before the last preseason game of the season. And that still would have given him a little bit more wiggle room because people are still talking. And, at that point, people hadn't cut down to their 53-man rosters, So even if you do it a week, 2 weeks earlier, I feel like there's still a little bit more wiggle room. I don't have a problem with the cut, like at all. But it's the timing that bothers me. I just feel like.
And I get that.
Situation where, like you said, not give him the option a little bit sooner. Because here's the thing, too. If you ask me on Friday if I want to take a pay cut and I only have till Monday to decide, hell nah. You know what I mean? But if you tell me that sooner, and then now I have a little bit more time to process, and now my agent and I have to talk to my family. Now the answer might be a little bit different, or maybe the pay cut that you offered me, I don't want that. And now we can negotiate something that's mutually beneficial to both of us. But when you give me a couple of days to decide, and I'm in my feelings that you even asked me in the first place, it's just not going to work out right. So I just think they could have done this better timing wise.
Yeah,
that's the only thing about this that bothers me. Not the cut, the timing. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, that's the only part. I'm like, damn, that's a little messed up. I get it, but it's a little messed up. But I also, to Ghost, he said, didn't he lead the Cowboys in yards? No, that's DeMarco Murray. Latavius Murray was when I was on the Raiders. Wrong Murray that you got there. But yeah, and another thing that Ghost said, I fully expect him to go to any of the teams in the NFC South. I'm looking at the Falcons, because I feel like they love big running backs, and I think that that's the place he's going to go to be a part of that rivalry, to, remind us like, oh, yeah, you're going to cut me right before I leave? All right, then, I'll take less money to go for the Falcons, please. So I think he's going to go to Falcons. But, it's tough, but I think it's better for us as a team, unfortunately.
I do. But timing is everything, people.
Timing is everything. That's facts.
On that. You gotta watch the timing. Read the room.
Yeah.
Don't be dirty. Time it early.
True.
But we will be back
I like that. Don't be dirty. Time it early. Okay. I like that.
All right, you guys, that's our show for the day. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to follow me on social media at JRated Follow Chris at CK2K. Watch the game tonight because you know we got to talk about it tomorrow. We will see you in the morning, you guys. Be safe. Bye-bye.